And we're live.
Hi, welcome to the StockinetteZombies. I'm Amy, also known as J-Nitma.
I'm Megan, also known as Just Run It, and this is episode 412.
Yes.
One that got postponed. I think last year around this time, I ended up postponing one, and you ended up having to postpone last week. So I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah. No, my voice was just shot last week. I could not, I would have been super squeaky and then quiet, and yeah, it was not good.
Yeah, people didn't necessarily want to hear that, right?
No. They would have been like, go to bed. It was bad.
I have somebody at work that I was trying to convince to take the day off yesterday. And it was like every Slack message, I was like, take the day off. Not feeling well. I'm going to try to take the day off. It was like it sounded like it was a stomach bug, which like the entropy of a stomach bug is, I feel like you feel pretty miserable pretty quickly. And then it also dissipates pretty quickly, right? Like, so the miserableness entropy is like, whoop. Yeah. So just take the day off, But yeah, I had a funny story. I told it on VKN. I think you'll enjoy hearing it. But mountain biking practice started earlier this week. Jeremy was like, I don't want to make supper when they got home from it. And so he convinced me that we needed to go to Boxcar Hippie. And like, I was like, it's like a local burrito place, like slightly more expensive than Chipotle, but like huge burritos, whatever. And I didn't want to go. I was like, I just go, I'll tell you what I want. He's like, no, this is a place where you like tell them what you put on it. I'm like, I don't want to go. Like, go and get it and bring it back. I've already showered. It's hot outside. I don't want to get all sweaty, whatever. He's like, you should go. So we get there. The guy taking our order compliments my T Public shirt that is the little black cap that's wearing a sweater, and asked me where I got it. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm also a knitter. So like, I could make this sweater, and then it would be really meta that I have like a t-shirt that has a cat wearing a sweater that I also am wearing the sweater of. And he's like, no way, I crochet and my daughter crochets. And like, hot tip for you, like, there is a crafting event in Rochester. Like, I went, and there was this huge market, and then we were walking out, and my daughter and I saw this table that had like free stuff on it, and we were like, take some of this. And she was so excited. Like, she took a whole bunch of stuff, and everybody was so kind and whatever. And he's like, you should find out when they're doing that again. And I'm like, I know. I'm one of the organizers. And so it just made me hi to Brandon. I'm sure he's not watching the podcast, but it made me so happy that there was a guy out in the community telling people about our event. And then he followed all of that up with like, and how many times a year do you guys do that? I was like, just the one in June. Yeah. But yeah, so much. I mean, like, it was good that I went. So I had to relent to Jeremy. I had to admit that it was good.
Yeah. No, that was a great story. Yeah. I have contemplated. Now, granted, I do not have the wherewithal this year. So if anybody wants to pitch in and help me, the Runaway. We used to do the Runaway up at Darn It Anyway. And now they have that Maker's Lounge that's so gorgeous, and it would just be so wonderful to go back there and do the Runaway again. But yeah, I don't have the planning wherewithal. And I'm pretty sure I won't next year because we will have graduates.
Yeah.
And be planning other events, and have a little bit of a fatigue by the time October rolls around. But
also like brand new in college kids,
right? Taking them into oh my God, don't even, I can't.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that would be fun. I'm planning my trip to Rhinebeck again via Syracuse, which seems to be a cheap flight for whatever reason. So I'm trying to make that a thing, right? Like when we first went, it was Socrates. Like nobody was like, "Oh, you're staying where? Socrates? What?" And now because of like India Untangled and some of the other events, like Socrates is on the map. So I'm trying to make like I'm trying to make yeah, Syracuse, the other some more New York names thing happen. But yeah, nice little airport, quick in and out. And yeah, gonna make that happen. I'm definitely in sweater planning mode for that. And I'm done with this hot weather. So
I'll have to look into Syracuse. Do they train into Manhattan? Can you, like,
I think so.
Check or something? Okay.
Oh,
exciting.
I think maybe
I
we
will look
either
into
got a
it
blip on your
because-
side or my side.
Oh, okay. I will look into it because I think that I want to take my family to New York, but just looking at all the different arrangements and stuff, I need that easy flight. Easy in and out, easy. That sounds great. But we're going to want to, oh, hopefully this glitch is small.
I'm going to wait a second because I think it was me saying that it was unstable. Am I back?
Yes.
You are as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I was just going to say ground transport. Yeah.
I just want to go into New York where it's easy peasy. And if, we could train into New York for like one big whirlwind day in New York City and then go back out, that would be wonderful. So
yeah. No, there's definitely ground transport from Syracuse because that was one of my like parameters when I was choosing Syracuse, as if my ride from the north, Lynn, wasn't going to would possibly not be able to attend. I would still have to be able to get down to Rhinebeck. So yeah, trains, planes, and automobiles.
Absolutely. Well, we were doing favorite things, right? Is there any other administrati? Because it's August now. Oh my goodness.
Oh, you're right. I did not draw. Next week.
Okay. We'll do it next week.
It's August 3rd. Oh yeah, it's August. Woo!
Right. So I guess I will go first. I had mentioned that I got a blocker for my squares. So this is it. It's OLIKRAFT. So it's Oli Craft. But it's got these pegs.
Oh, that looks like a high quality. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're a 1/2 inch apart. And you get a ton of these pegs. So you can block something really tiny and a lot of them, or you can block something big and make sure that every part of the edge is straight. For mine was kind of an awkward one. So it's a 4-inch, and you can kind of see that it blocked it so that it's very pointy in the edges.
Mm-hmm. I see that. Yeah.
Great. And maybe even a little swooped in because I didn't put. It wouldn't
be the midpoint. It would be like a
right. So and then they kind of stay on there so that you can put layers and have air in between them.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So that they dry faster. So that is my favorite thing. I used an Etsy gift card that was given to me and then a Visa gift card that I got combined together to get this. I believe that with shipping, it was just under $50.
Cool.
So, and I guess another side tangent or a little bit more about me, my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, she always told us that gifts should be something that you want but wouldn't buy for yourself. And so I figure like, oh, I don't really need a big or a special crocheted blocking mat, right? I have blocking mats, I have pins, I can block squares. I don't need this. But I want it. It's very it's a very pretty thing, and it does exactly, and when they're drying, you can actually mount it on this mounting board, and then it stands up to look like a really pretty, like if you were to put your squares on there, they're colorful, and you could stand it up so that you can display them while they're drying as well.
Functional art. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's not something that I necessarily would have bought for myself, because it is very high quality, and it's a little luxury for what it does. And so it just fit the bill for grandma, as a gift, something that you want, but you wouldn't necessarily buy for yourself. So.
Excellent. Well, yeah, mine are a little bit of purchases and ZK or ZKN swag, and then something that I'm currently working on that I'm super excited about. So Amy, I have not gotten they had a sale in our in the like the platform that we have our swag on. So I ordered mine. Well, I could get like the free shipping or the cheap shipping or whatever the sale was. And I'm working on your little logo one if people are interested in that one. But we put our Craft Joy on so this year's ZKN logo on a t-shirt, and I just love this. I love kind of how it's monocolored, right? Like but it's not like black and white, like how the gray and the pink and the black all work together. So you can get that on a variety of items. And they are so good about returns. I did for our 5K winners, I did like a free shirt to see what it was going to look like on one of the materials, and the lines weren't thick enough. So like it didn't pop, and it just looked like it wasn't going to wear very well. And I contacted them, and like immediate refund. So, and they're really great about size exchanges as well. So, yeah, find something that you're interested in. We had an idea last night in the VKN that I may try to mock up as well, a monogamoose.
I love it.
Megan used to be a monogamoose, and I was like,
we have stashing squirrels and we have monogamoose.
Yes, we may need to figure out what we want to lovingly call people that continue to cast on new things when their old things aren't done. So the polyamorous something, maybe a octopus, because you need all of the arms. Anyway, we can workshop it. And then I am in the Woolens and Nosh self-striping club, which brings me no end of joy. I always love, she does a really great job. You get like an email that says, you're going to have a new thing that's going to become renewed, and you can like cancel or whatever, but it kind of like builds the anticipation for me. And then you get like it's coming in the mail. And then you get like it's been delivered, right? So you get all of these steps. And then I often wait to open the package. I contain myself until I'm like, okay, I need a win. It was a hard week. It felt like I crammed a month into the last week. And I'm gonna open it. And I was not disappointed this month. I read banned books. But oh my goodness, doesn't this just look like sunshine in a self-striping?
Oh, yeah, and a bit of like fall leaves too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can see the inspiration of the book, the book spines as well, right? Like these are really pretty colors to have been in she joined the VKN last night, and I was complimenting her. She was like, yeah, on the drying racks, it was just like sunset after sunset after sunset. And I was like, oh, it just screams summer to me. And because it's got books in the thing, I could also do it during our craft your own book venture. So yeah, super love that. And then have fallen in love with Feederbrook Farms because I'm making a tessellated. And again, last year I got this for pressed flowers. My original combo was not one that I felt like I was getting a lot of contrast on. And like, I think you commented when I bought it that I got way too much of it, because I have I have a skein still in there. I've got this one, and then I've got 2 that I haven't even caked up yet. And I'm done with the body of my tessellated. But it's just so fun. Again, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but like to see the color shifts, right? Like it's just so much fun.
Yeah, in the camera, it's subtle. It's very subtle, but
but
I can see them.
Yeah. It'll be a lot more, it'll be a lot more striking in person, but I also kind of like the wrong side as well. Like it's just kind of a fun little, and just so only like a third of the rows. I won't tell you the exact ratio because that would give away some of the pattern repeat, but a third of the rows are with the mohair, and it's so soft. I'm like, how does it do that? But mohair just makes a way, right? Like it's like, get out of my way, you heavier yarns. I'm going to make this sweater soft. But yeah, Feederbrook is a really a less expensive alternative to some of the other more hand spun looking alternatives that are written. These patterns are written for. And the gray is actually a something I got as a gift from for Christmas from my old boss, Superwash Merino from Lion Brand, right? So I'm making this tessellated at a much cheaper grade than price point than what it was necessary, the recommended yarns, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I was a little. Go ahead.
Oh, you mentioned pressed flowers and hand spun and whatnot, and so I had to pull up a favorite thing here. I have picked my pressed flowers socks combo. I have was a Farmer's Daughter's Fibers, and then I went through my hand spun stash and found this already caked up, and it's got a little bit of sparkle in it, and I just couldn't resist. I'm like, oh, my own hand spun and this, like, oh, and yeah. Now I might have to be very careful with these. I'm not sure how superwash either of these things are.
Yeah.
But super excited to make something with them just because of how just very excited.
Yeah. No, that hand spun is gorgeous. Are you going to make the flowers the pink, or are you going to make the flowers the hand spun? Hand spun?
Hand spun. Yeah, I have more of the red. So whatever color this is, maroon, and less of this. So I want to make sure that I have enough to get through the pattern. So yeah.
I was thinking, I mean, I know that the pattern has it. So again, she released that, definitely a favorite thing of mine. I'm like, I made a pullover out of the cardigan. Like, I just give her my money, because I think that they're cute. But I think I'm going to try to do like a darker green, which of course I have tons of, and then like maybe a pink for the flowers.
Okay.
And then I haven't read through the pattern, but just a heads up to you, if you've got like, or anyone that's interested in it, but if you've got like princess feet, right? If you aren't interested in having those garter bumps on the bottom of your feet, which might help with gripping, but like, I don't know that I would like that texture. You can do that same motif, but without like the every other row being a pearl, to make it because it's going to be in the round, right? Be a pearl round, so you could make it kind of the same motif, but stockinette versus garter on the bottom of the sole. And we were talking about last night, you could also just make the bottom stripes, right, and not even put flowers on the bottom of the foot, but because it is a mosaic motif. But yeah, so excited about all of the recent patterns that have come out, and the ones that I've got like yarn sitting at ready for. But Amy asked, she said that she loves our sweaters, and she also loves your Velocore, Amy. And she swatched yesterday, but she's wondering, did we like knitting it? I also knit one as well, so I'm adding myself in that. But she was asking you specifically if you liked knitting it.
Yes, it's got just enough interest to keep it going, but it grows very slowly.
Yeah, agreed.
It's interesting, and I liked it, but you're going to feel like, hey, I should be a couple inches now, and you're going to measure, and it's not going to be what you thought because of the slip stitches. It just kind of shrinks. And so yes, I enjoy
strong
knitting
+1 on that. Very interesting stitch motif, like engaging, but also just feels like you're doing it forever. I was really, so I think why I flew through the body of this was just because I was so interested in how the color changes were going to look. So it was almost like that one more stripe phenomena. But it wasn't self-striping, right? So I didn't have like a predictable repeat to be like, oh, and now I'm going to get to that stripe, right? Like all of it was just like, you know, it looks like they plied with one color and then they'd start another color and then they'd start, you know, like they started the plying at different points. And so you just get these different color progressions throughout, which I found super enabling. Or like, keep knitting, just keep knitting.
I haven't looked at the pressed flowers very much, but I think it only has 1 stitch count. So that's another thing that I'm a little concerned with. But I'll have to play with gauge and make sure that it'll fit my foot.
Yeah. Go up a needle size, or maybe add some like, again, if we're doing the bottom as not the motif, you could add a few extra stitches on the side and then on the bottom as well, right?
Yep. So but just a fair warning, right? It's only got 1 stitch circumference and you have to fit it into your foot size.
Yeah. And then Pat said a polygamous octopus would be a polygamous. I think that sounds too similar to a polygamist. We'll keep workshopping it. We'll keep workshopping it, Pat. But yeah, lots of favorite things, lots of definite plans going on as I'm avoiding making sleeves and other fun things. But you've gotten pretty far on your squares?
What am I at now? I have 18 left.
Woo!
So yeah, I'm still using the same strategy. Start with like 4 tiny centers and then fill out all of those 4 and then move on to the next batch. So seems to be working for me. But it's slowing down. I'm definitely losing the granny square mojo. I think I shared, like, Elise Myers had this funny little thing about how, oh, if you're an ADHDer and you're learning to crochet, don't do a blanket, don't do a granny square blanket, because you're like, oh, that was fun, and then you have to make 100 more, you know, or whatever the number was. So yeah, it's definitely getting to that tedium point where I'm like, oh, I like granny squares, but wow, I have so many more to go. So I've been less monogamous on them now. Like that first chunk was monogamy. Like I was enjoying it. I was loving it. I wanted to get as many as possible. And now I'm down to like, I might make myself make 1 today or go through 1 stripe on all 4 or whatever it is so that I can make it to the next. And it's also I've been weaving in the ends as I go. So, and there's, you know, each color change, right? So that's been the other part that's been slowing me down, is making sure all those ends get woven in. But I am really excited. I did order the yarn to join them together. So what I might also do to get my mind through the hump is that it's layered in stripes. So I might make what I need to make that first stripe and start the sweater, just so that I can have just a little bit more interesting something to keep me going. So
I'm not on Instagram very much, but I feel like a knitter reposted something about writer's block and said that it also works for writers or for knitters or crafters as well. But like, basically, if you're stuck on one project, cast on another to make yourself feel better about like, oh, I'm excited about this one until that one is no longer exciting. And then make yourself work on the first. to, because you're no longer excited about the current, repeat for infinity.
Oh yeah. Well, here's what I'm knitting right now. It's a baby hat.
Yeah.
You know, like I needed a palette cleanser. So I have my baby hat palette cleanser because there's a few babies at work.
Very cute.
So I'm just making them in a variety of colors because I don't know sexes of babies yet, or, and I don't know what the parents' preferences are. I want them to get worn. So I plan to make 4 like crazy bright and fun, and then more subdued and neutral, but still color, right? But not like this where there's like it's striping and it looks all, crazy. I'm going to do, I think it's over here. This one.
And then the parents can decide whether or not they want the hat to be crazy or not.
Right. So this is just a green tweed. It's going to be super cute, but just like, okay, here's your options.
Yeah.
Because I want it to get worn. And if you're like, this crazy hat is never seeing my child's head, then okay, I'll take it back.
Yeah, exactly. All righty. Well, a lot of favorite things.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, Uvda.
All right.